That's all you never saw. Been in trouble with the law since the day they was born.
Joining us on the phone right now is Ben Jones, the actor who played the part of Cooter, the miracle mechanic on the Dukes of Hazzard. When I was a kid, Friday night in my house was fun family night. We didn't cook dinner, we ordered pizza, and we watched the Dukes of Hazzard. And you know what? I think all these years later, families are still watching the Dukes of Hazzard, and they can watch it anytime they want now with DVDs. And
That's right.
This
they can eat pizza 15 or 20 times a day. Yeah. What you just told me is something I've heard. You know, if I've heard it once, I've heard it 50,000 times over the years. Jeff Foxworthy, the comic, said that he thought growing up in Alabama that you were required by law to watch the Dukes of Hazzard on Friday night because everybody said, well, time for Dukes of Hazzard, and they'd all pile up.
That's right. The world stopped. And, you know, this show, I can only really compare it to Star Trek in terms of a show that went off the air and then just continued to get more and more popular.
Well, you know, here's there's a difference. And, you know, not to put down Star Trek. In fact, I knew the people who did all those Next Generation things. Mm-hmm. And the producer was a guy I went to college with, in fact. But Star Trek, they have these conventions, and there may be a couple of hundred people show up in this convention room. They're all dressed up in like cardboard boxes and aluminum foil and stuff. The third Ergon from the planet Nebatia or something. Now, we get, in 2007 in Nashville, Tennessee, we had a fan festival for the Dukes that drew 100,000 people over 2 days. And we were flying cars through the air and, just amazing stuff. And 2 days of music and people just look. But our people come up and ask you to sign their carburetor. It's real. It's real stuff and real people. And it's the goofiest thing, but it's true what you said. Because of the new technology, more people are watching it now than ever. So it's an enormous niche that the Dukes of Hazzard has, in part because there's a total absence of family programming now.
That's right.
In the sense where the whole family's going to pile up together and watch something and really not worry about what the kids are going to see or hear. And that show fits the bill, and it's timeless. You look at it, it looks like it could have been filmed last month. It's a rural thing, sort of like a Western. You know, we're out there in blue jeans and ball caps and work shirts, driving old cars that we work on, dirt roads, farmhouses, and overalls and boots, and we still dress like that. You still drive on dirt roads on old cars past farmhouses.
I was going to say, I know people now that look like Cooter and Bo and Luke.
Yeah, I think we were big trendsetters, big style influences, you know. Actually, that's true. And, of course, the Daisy Dukes.
Well.
That's, an iconic thing. Only in all these years, now that, short shorts are called Daisy Dukes, I've still yet to see anybody who looks as good in their Daisy Dukes as Daisy Duke did.
You won't get an argument from me.
Oh, no. Make a bulldog break his chain, man. Make a freight train go up a dirt road.
Well, I'll tell you, when I was a kid, when I first started watching the show, it was all about the stunts and you guys and the heroes on the show. Then somewhere around, 13.
Those hormones kicked in, and suddenly you notice Daisy.
Right. So that's kind of what happened. And I think, again, like you said, there's not much on TV, really, that families can watch together. And also, even though the law was after Bo and Luke all the time, the truth of the matter is, whenever the Dukes, or anybody really, was in real trouble, the law would step in. You'd see Roscoe and help.
Together in the county when the bad guys came in from outside. But, of course, it was the Robin Hood thing, where the heroes are ostensibly the bad guys, right? Only they're really the good guys because the law is corrupt, as it was in Robin Hood.
Right.
So, those it has some classic elements in it. What I saw as a kid, I grew up in the 40s, and there wasn't even television yet. Not that it mattered where we lived; we didn't have electricity. But we'd go to the movie house on Saturday and watch the B westerns with Roy Rogers and Gene Autry and Hopalong Cassidy. And in these shows, these were heroes. They always made the right moral choice under any circumstance.
That's right.
They'd risk their life for you, and they'd always trying to save the pretty rancher's daughter from the evil banker, and there was a lot of action in these things, but nobody ever got hurt. Nobody bled, really.
That's
you could
right.
fall off a cliff and have a stagecoach land on top of you and just get up, brush yourself off. And in the end, the good guys always won. The bad guys got their comeuppance, and, usually the hero got the girl, and they rode off into the sunset with music playing.
Right.
And in that was always a sidekick, and there was always slapstick comedy, which never gets old.
That's true.
Slapstick, if it's timed right, in Greek theater, if a pompous fat guy slipped on a banana peel and fell in a mud puddle, it was funny. If the timing was right, still funny. So that stuff doesn't age, those things, and they're little morality plays, sort of, where, those movies showed the kids how to act.
Right.
I wanted to be like Gene Autry. We could tell that he was a good guy because of the way he behaved. He did the right thing. And we wanted to be like Gene and Roy and Tex. And I think a generation of kids wanted to be like Bo and Luke. We were just using cars instead of horses.
That's it. Now, you've had Dukes Fest in the past. How is Hazzard Homecoming? I should mention it's this weekend, August the 11th and 12th. How does Hazzard Homecoming differ from Dukes Fest?
Well, I think it's a matter of scale. My wife, Alma, and I started the Dukes Fest thing, and we suddenly realized the enormous popularity and the resonance that the show still has. It's not a cult thing. It's a new thing. These kids think it's a new show. We started doing the Dukes Fest, and I started doing this whole Cooters thing back over again after I'd served a couple of terms in Congress and done lots of other things, and just had more fun doing it. But the show kept growing. The Dukes Fest did. It got bigger each year. We outgrew the little county where we live and moved it to famous Bristol Motor Speedway, and it outgrew that. We went to Nashville to this enormous fairgrounds, and that's when we were drawing 100,000 people. And it was too big. We're just a mom-and-pop operation, and we'd done about all that we could with it. So we sort of stopped doing that, but people still wanted something like it. So we live here in the Blue Ridge Mountains, and we decided we'll do something a lot more laid back, like a Hazzard County Fair. And it's just less ambitious. We're going to jump a little car, but it's going to be what we call a ramp-to-ramp jump. Nobody's risking their life. We're going to have BMX stunts. Keith King, who was just on America's Got Talent, was a semifinalist. I keep seeing him in the ads, the promotions during the Olympics for that show. He's coming. He's been doing our stuff for years, a great BMX. So it's not, people out there risking their lives doing stunts. And it's a little, we had bigger acts, but we'll do more bluegrass and rockabilly music at this one. And it's really in the country. I mean, it's on this beautiful old farm out in the country. We don't even have a stoplight in this county. So,
that's perfect.
Yeah, we had 2 blinking lights and took one of them down. So there's 7,000 people here, and we'll probably have twice that many people showing up for our event.
And the whole cast will be together.
That's what's special about this one. That doesn't happen very often. We lost Sorrel Book, who played Boss Hogg. Wonderful man, a brilliant man, a great opera singer and Shakespearean actor, but he enjoyed doing Boss Hogg more than anything else he ever did. He passed in 1994, and then Denver Pyle, a wonderful actor who played Uncle Jesse, passed in 1997. But the rest of us are still jumping the fences, I guess. Not the fences aren't quite as high, but we're still running the hurdles and enjoying this continuing resurgence of popularity of the show. It doesn't make us young again, but it makes us feel we're young again. It's about the same thing. The only actor from the show who looks great as ever is the General Lee, the car.
And that never ages.
No gray hair, no rust, no leaks. But that is special. John Schneider, who played Bo, Tom Wopat, who played Luke, Catherine Bach, who played Daisy, James Best, who played Roscoe P. Coltrane, Sonny Schroyer, who played Enos the Deputy, and Rick Hurst, who played Cletus, the deputy, and myself are all going to be there. We're with one of our stunt directors representing the guys who really did all the work,
right.
the stunt team. And that's special. It's a family reunion for us. And we look back now and are astonished at the continuing international success of the show. And visitors will be coming from Spain and Australia and England, and the show has that kind of popularity. Our show translates well. It's good-looking girls and fast cars and music. So it plays in any language.
Now, there's going to be live music there, and I know John Schneider and Tom Wopat both do. Are they going to be performing?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Saturday
good.
night, we're going to, both at the Edna Beach, there's folks, the actors sort of spend the day signing autographs and car parts and T-shirts and hats and pictures and things like that. And at the end of the day, during the day, we'll have music going the whole time, great music. I'm a big fan of rockabilly, which is that music out of Sun Records in the 1950s. And the guys who are coming are guys who played with Elvis and Jerry Lee Lewis, and Carl Perkins and Johnny Cash, and recorded and had hits then. And then I have our band, Cooter's Garage Band. We're as good as it. We played the Grand Ole Opry and play all over the country. So we're going to play, and I'm going to host the show. We have wrestling with Jerry the King Lawler.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and fireworks and all kinds of stuff for kids to jump up and down and slide on, and lots of stuff like that. And we're going to have a ski car. One of the stunt guys is going to drive a car up on two wheels. So there's thrills, lots of stuff like that. Other music, Stella Parton, Dolly's little sister, is going to be with us. She was on the Dukes of Hazzard. Dr. Ralph Stanley, the great, bluegrass, Grammy Award
legend,
Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, and all that. One of the founders of that music. He's a buddy of mine, and they're coming on Sunday. We'll have gospel music on Sunday morning, kind of a mountain tradition. So there's lots of, there's music going the whole time. And on top of that, it's a car show.
Yeah.
Because the General Lees will come rolling in from all over the United States. And people build the Roscoe police cars and Boss Hogg's Cadillac and Daisy's Jeep. So it's a car show, a concert, a fan event. And we top it off on Saturday night with fireworks. And then Sunday's a little more laid back. But at the end of both days, the entire cast comes up, and we thank the fans musically.
Fantastic. Now, I want to get this right. It's August 11th and 12th.
That's this weekend.
Right, and is it Amosville, Virginia?
Well, Amosville, it's it's actually, if you do a GPS, it's just at the intersection of, in Rappahannock County, Virginia, of Highway 211 and State Road 729. The little crossroads is called Benvenue.
Okay.
And which means beautiful scenery, a beautiful, whatever.
Right.
But it's an old plantation, an old farm there. We got a lot of people from up your way coming, too. Although it's a southern, theoretically a southern show, it translates internationally. And everywhere we go, I go to New Hampshire, and people say, it's just like Hazzard County around here, Oregon, Arizona, England, I went to England back in the early 80s, and I thought, I wonder if anybody will recognize me over here. And I knew they showed the show there. And the first guy I saw when I got off of the plane at Gatwick Airport, the guy that looks at your passport, looks at it and says, hey, now, Cooter, the bloody garage man. Dukes of Hazzard. He said, where's Daisy? Which I've been asked a million times everywhere.
Right.
So it's, everybody relates to it as just, a ridiculous good time, I guess.
Now, when people want to get information on this, and they got to be quick to do it, where's the best place to get it online? CootersPlace.com. We are high-tech now in Hazzard County, guys. CootersPlace.com. Alma tells me to always say it at least 3 times. CootersPlace.com. Cooters Place. And that's our website, and it'll give you the directions, prices. Price right. It's $20 for one day, $25 for both days. Wow.
Kids 10 and under are free. Seniors are free. Active military free. And anybody in law enforcement that comes up and shows us their badge, get it free. And that's a pretty good deal for all of that. And so CootersPlace.com, tell you all about it. We are in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia, in Rappahannock County.
Well,
it's an interesting place. A lot of just hard-working, good old boys and gals, and then you've got, opera singers and great musicians and sculptors who live here. So it's an eclectic bunch of folks, and we all get along.
So I'm going to do it a fourth time for you. CootersPlace.com.
Yeah.
That's where you can get the information. And you've got these I want to mention this, too, briefly. You've got these, I guess they're museums, Dukes of Hazzard museums, two of them.
I started it, I moved here in the late 90s, and in no time I saw this little store. I had this idea, and I couldn't get it out of my mind. Why didn't I get all my old Dukes of Hazzard stuff out of the barn and open up a little place on the highway? A lot of tourists would come up here, particularly in the summer, and they do. So I started this little place called Cooters. I got it at old General Lee and set it outside, and put out all my old costumes and scripts and pictures from the show. And so, Cooters ball caps and T-shirts and Uncle Jesse's apple cider and Daisy's apple butter and stuff like that. And people started coming from all over. It was, my wife says, Alma says, that's the craziest idea I ever heard, but you go right ahead and do it. And when we had our grand opening, like 5,000 people came from, and she, of course, being a brilliant businesswoman, took over from there. So. But we did. We closed that store after 5 years because it just was too much. Because we'd opened a store in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, in the Smoky Mountains by Pigeon Forge and Dollywood, and that does great. And then we opened a store a couple of years later in Nashville, Tennessee, right across from the Grand Ole Opry.
Mm.
And so I stay busy with it. I do other things. I write and...
you got your music, too.
Got my music, Cooters Garage Band, and we record. Just got a new CD out called Southern to the Bone.
All right.
So we do a lot of that, do concerts all around. But the Dukes of Hazzard thing, if somebody had told me, we started filming 34 years ago, and if somebody had come up to me that day and said, when you're an old man in the next millennium, people will be coming to, from Spain to see you and get your, because of this show. I couldn't have comprehended it. There were only 3 networks.
Yeah.
Then. There was no cable and no satellites, no TiVo or internet. There was no internet, no DVDs or VHS, nothing like that. So, and on Friday nights, about 40 to 50 million people a week were watching the Dukes of Hazzard.
That's right. And, for a show that CBS didn't seem to have much faith in when it first started, boy, were they wrong.
Well, Bill Paley was the famous head of CBS, and when our show came on the air, he's the guy who had axed, the Andy Griffith Show.
Oh, the Rural Purge, yeah.
And Hee-Haw and all that. They were beneath his dignity. But Mr. Paley was on an extended European vacation, and when he got back, the show was on the air, and it was like the number 2 show that week or something. He couldn't axe it for years. And, it's still going strong, and, of course, it's going to outlast all of us, I think.
Yeah, there's probably going to be a 100th Hazzard homecoming at some point. I got one last question for you here. When your
can't give you Daisy's phone number.
Well, that all right, I'll scratch that one off. When your car breaks down and you bring it to the mechanic, do they look at you kind of funny?
Yeah, my car doesn't break down, man. I'm the best mechanic in the world. I worked in a garage when I was a kid, and after about 3 weeks, old Stump Roundtree that ran the gas station in the garage, he said, they called me Buster in those days. He says, Buster, he said, you're real good at pumping that gas, cleaning them windshields, checking out oil, checking them tires, fixing them flats. He said, but you stay the hell away from my toes. You ain't no mechanic. And so, no, we're out here. Everybody knows how to fix a car. But they do. I do have the best mechanic in the county helping me out. Yeah, if they'd have counted on me to keep all those cars going, we'd have never got through the first episode.
That's true. Yeah, you'd see the General Lee hit, and you knew the frame was bent. And everything. Yeah, it was just a...
Well, think about this, though, if you got a second. Cooter was a genius.
Oh, yeah?
He had the only garage and the only tow truck and was the only mechanic in a place where all they did was destroy automobiles all day long.
Thanks so much, Ben. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I feel like I'm 8 years old again talking to you. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you having me on, and I enjoyed the chat. I hope to talk with you again down the trail.